A BTTN presentation. Flexible Fantasy Football, the Triple F queued up in the building. Beast that thing. Here's truly the Dynasty deity, the Don, the go to this fucking fantasy shit. Here to do some position rankings for fantasy football. We're going to do QB right now. It's flexible. It's flexible fantasy football. This is March 31st, last day of March. So we're about a month, 25 days until the draft. So this could change. Not having any destinations or not knowing situation of draft capital on the QBs is affecting some of the rookies. Also, it's affecting some of the veterans. And yeah, I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers is gonna fucking play. So yeah, he's not in there. But you know what? Enough with the intro. Let's just get to it. It's not a great production. Just got a green screen with a little Excel sheet on top of it, or a little graph, whatever chart. Dynasty Fantasy Football QB rankings at the top of it, with a rank to the left, 1 through 25. It's the top 25. I got Jalen Miller at the bottom. This is this is an overall, so I guess it doesn't really matter if it's super flex, but all these rankings are pretty much super flex. But these are also just fantasy rankings in general for Dynasty. This would not be redraft. If you're redrafting, it would be different. I'm not sure how different, honestly. I don't want to get caught up in that. Because I do approach Dynasty kind of like redraft. I mean, it's supposed to be 2 to 3 year windows, and yeah, I look at youth, but when it comes to the quarterback position, Aaron Rodgers is almost 40. Tom Brady was almost 40. Kirk Cousins is like 36. Now he lost his job, so that's a bad example. But I mean, quarterbacks can play well into their mid to late 30s, being somewhat productive, as long as there's not like a younger, highly touted prospect, waiting in the wings or something. There's no reason really to use age against QBs so long as they're producing. Also, injuries too. I mean, they can kind of play through injuries as long as it's not to their throwing shoulder or throwing arm, or if they're mobile, not to their legs. But even mobile quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, they're decent enough passers that I don't think I'd jeopardize them too much based off of an injury. Jaden Daniels, that would hurt. Jalen Hurts, it would hurt. Justin Fields, it would hurt. Guys that primarily rely on their legs, but where it's just kind of like, Josh Allen gets a fuck ton of rushing touchdowns. Lamar Jackson also uses his legs a lot, but he's shown that he can win in the pocket. Josh Allen too. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not Josh Allen so much. I don't know. He did lose Diggs, so he didn't throw that much. We're still kind of unsure who his number one target is. But anywho, yeah, these are dynasty rankings. Although a lot of what I say or how I justify it probably could also fit for redraft. So if you're just looking for some redraft content or advice or just intel, feel free to use this too, because it's not going to change too much on the quarterback position, in all honesty. CJ Stroud might be one for sure. Drake May too, maybe. I don't think his situation is going to be great this year, where he's going to probably be a top 12 quarterback. But either way, I got Jalen Miller at 25. Not knowing his team, not knowing draft capital, not knowing anything really. He is my second highest rookie. This is from a fantasy aspect. Now, if I was doing draft rankings, I think he's my third QB3. I got Jackson Dart ahead of him. But for fantasy, especially since I think I got Jackson Dart mocked to the Steelers, even though they do got DK Metcalf and Pickens and Calvin Austin. Arthur Smith is the offensive coordinator. I don't know. Kenny Pickett didn't do great there. Ben Roethlisberger, his last couple years, didn't do great there. They haven't produced great fantasy QB fantasy numbers. Jalen Miller with his rushing upside, the Konami code ability, and I just see a Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen there. I see a developmental prospect who will develop. I would have had him higher rated than Bo Nix if he was in the draft a year ago. And, Mo Bix, whatever the hell I said. Bo Nix was able to use his rushing upside and mobility to, be very good in fantasy, extremely fantasy relevant. Now he was in a good situation with Sean Payton and Cortland Sutton. Also, with Velli and the emergence of Mims, and then you got Franklin there. He was in a pretty decent situation, and we weren't sure about that after how we saw Russell Wilson perform. Kind of just shows how bad Russell Wilson was, or how much Sean Payton didn't like him, or he wasn't Sean Payton's guy. Maybe it's also a check mark to Bo Nix and how maybe we underrated him or undervalued him. Me personally, I thought he was a first-round pick or borderline first, second, but you moved the QB position up. Typically, I wasn't surprised to see him go in the first. I mocked him number 12 to the Broncos, honestly. It's number 12, right? Yeah, we had 6 quarterbacks in the top 12 picks, I think. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised too much, and I really thought the Broncos situation was better. Cortland Sutton, if you look at his highlight reel from 2023, even 2022, he makes some of the best catches of any wide receiver. All you got to do is throw it up to him. Bo Nix did that, and he kind of proved that. I do think Cortland Sutton's undervalued in fantasy, honestly. We'll get to that when I do my wide receivers. But Jalen Milroe, what he did at Alabama, running the 4.3 42 at his pro day. Best deep ball accuracy. 2 different offensive systems in his 2 years of starting. Also had to handle the reins and the transition from Nick Saban to Kellen DeBoer. Not easy. Not for Kellen DeBoer, but also not for whoever the QB is. And keep in mind, he was benched after a loss to UT in 2023, where his team damn near lost to South Florida. So I'm not 100% sure about the talent around him either, especially in the wide receiver room, which most of those dudes transferred out, like Isaiah Bond and Ja'Cory Brooks. Did the tight end transfer too? I don't know. I can't keep track of all of everything going on at Alabama. But he definitely had some turnover, some attrition, I guess, to the roster and to his wide receiver core. And then you take that into account with the new system he had to learn and new coach and all that. There's reasons you can see that he struggled, but I think whatever team drafts him is going to have a plan in mind. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that they know what they're doing with him. And, I'm going to go with the talent there and the rushing upside. I got Tua at 24. Might be low, but his injury history and, we don't know if McDaniels is going to get fired or last past this season. We really don't know if Tua's going to last past this season. And Tyreek Hill and everything going on with that and the lack of, Waddle being able to emerge. He's just – we haven't seen his little penguin walk that much at all because he ain't been in the end zone. Hadn't made too many big plays, so there's not been a lot of waddling for Waddle. I'm not 100% sold on him anyways. I do like Malik Washington. I expect them to address that offensive line to really try to get the running game going because it didn't matter who was running the ball. It was ineffective and inefficient. I haven't looked at charts, but I feel like they were definitely one of the worst at yards before contact, meaning they weren't getting pushed on the line of scrimmage or, their running backs were getting touched rather early into their running attempts. And that was also because of the Tua injury. That whole offense was anemic after Tua got injured. Not sure how much to put on that, but even after Tua returned, it wasn't great. So he's 24. 23, we got Anthony Richardson. He's a Konami code. He could be live as fuck. He could do great, amazing things. And, we saw 2.5 games in 2023, and he was looking game busters. But then we saw several more games in 2024, and he was looking fucking trash. Tapping his head, wanting to come out because he's tired. He's tired. He said he tired, boss. It's hot. Don't care about your meteorological assessments, motherfucker. State of Mississippi need this here ditch dug by sundown. Well, the state of Indiana needs your ass to play quarterback and run around and make defenses look silly, not getting fucking tired. Anywho, even when he wasn't tired, he wasn't hitting receivers at all. He wasn't going through his reads. He was inaccurate. He was making poor decisions. He was holding the ball too long. You got Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, A.D. Mitchell. I don't know what the problem is. You also got JT, great receiving back. Also, a good 1-2 punch with RPOs or read options. I mean, it doesn't matter which way you pick. It should be difficult. If Anthony keeps it, that's a problem. If he gives it to JT, that's a problem. But also that offensive line just wasn't what it has been with Quentin Nelson and company. Injuries and maybe age just kind of caused that to go down a little bit. That was one of their strengths for sure, was the offensive line. A lot of people have them getting Tyler Warren in the mocks or going Colton Loveland or getting a tight end. I think that's honestly a waste. Just because you're not going to use them. Why would you draft the tight end in the first round that you're not going to use? I mean, he hasn't used Downs. He hasn't used A.D. Mitchell. He hasn't used Michael Pittman. There's also Alec Pierce. He threw some deep balls to Alec Pierce. That might have been one of the most used individuals. He doesn't throw the ball to JT. You're only going to let him throw the ball maybe 20 to 25 times with 4 wide receivers and a running back, and you already got a decent tight end, Jelani Woods, and that's a pretty deep tight end class. You could have dressed tight end later on. To draft the tight end in the first that I don't think you're really going to get first-round production out of, just because it's not going to be available. Even if Daniel Jones takes over at quarterback, when has he really thrown to tight ends? Evan Ingram had his best years of his career with Trevor Lawrence. He didn't even throw the ball to Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley didn't get any receptions. So Daniel Jones isn't going to be much of an upgrade for that. He's not going to throw the ball more than 25 times either, probably, unless you're like way behind or something. But I'm still not sure it's going to go. I just don't see the benefit of getting a tight end. If you want to get a run blocking tight end, like Jackson Hawes or some of Georgia Tech, I'm okay with that in the 5th or 6th or whatever. But to actually go for a tight end in the first doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I don't have that happening. They could easily address in other rounds and add maybe some more playmakers. I think they maybe need to add some offensive line and just build that defense. Ultimately, you just need Anthony Richardson to develop and play the QB position and not get so fucking tired, apparently. I don't know, have him fucking running crossfields or suicides or something and get this motherfucker some endurance. Number 22, we got Geno Smith at the Raiders, newly acquired. Raiders don't have a lot of weapons, but they got Bowers. I personally think they add weapons in this draft. I got him going T-Mac because he doesn't like Tet, apparently. Number 6th overall, or trading back if they can. I figured they were a prime target to trade back because they traded a 3rd for Geno. Then I realized they had multiple 3rds and they didn't even trade their own 3rd for Geno. They traded the Lions 3rd, I think, which is a late 3rd. So I guess they're not really hurt on draft capital due to the Geno trade, but still, you're drafting number 6 for a reason. You don't have a lot of fucking talent. You're not really a good team. And you can blame it on Antonio Pierce if you want to. But I think you just got a lot of holes that you got to figure out, that you got to fill, that you got to address. And drafting a running back number 6 overall isn't a smart way to do that, especially in a deep running back class. Everybody's on this Ashton Genty to number 6 to the Raiders train. And I get it, like they were the worst rushing team. But they also were the worst in yards before contact. They had 0 push. Dudes are getting touched in the backfield. You're not gonna. It doesn't matter if Ashton Genty's your running back. If you're getting touched in the backfield or you're not getting a lot of yards before contact, even though he's great with yards after contact, if you're getting hit 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, what are you gonna do? And let's keep in mind, this isn't the Mountain West Conference. This is the NFL. This is the best of the best, the most elite. You're probably not gonna bounce off these dudes like you did in college. Are you gonna bounce off some? Yeah. Are you gonna be difficult to tackle? Yeah. But they're also going to be better at tackling. They're going to be better at swarming the ball and gang tackling and grabbing and holding on tight, containing. Especially if you're on a team like the Raiders where there's no offensive line and there's not a lot of weapons to keep defenses honest. I don't really know what you're expecting with Ashton Genty. He's not going to save your run game. He's not going to all of a sudden turn you into one of the best rushing teams in the league. Because, honestly, Brett Coleman just did a video. He said basically an offensive line is your floor, raises your floor, and a running back raises your ceiling. If you don't have the floor, you're not going to have a high ceiling. You're not going to have a well-built house. And I've always felt that way. You start the line of scrimmage. A good offensive line moves the line of scrimmage. With a good offensive line, you start 1st and 8. With a bad one, you start 1st and 12. At least if you're going up against a better defensive line. The Eagles' defensive line, on the other hand, is like that. Pretty much any offense you go up against, it's 1st and 12 because they're going to struggle to run the ball, especially in between the tackles. And they're fast enough that if you go out wide, they're probably going to get you because their lateral quickness and sideline to sideline movement or ability to contain is amongst the top in the league. So good fucking luck. Anywho, Geno Smith's 22 just because all he has right now is Brock Bowers. There's Jacoby Myers too. I don't know what's going to happen with them in number 6 or how they're going to address this draft. I hope they don't go Ashton Genty. I don't know if that really hurts Geno Smith, but it does hurt Ashton Genty in my opinion. I would be off of Ashton Genty as far as Dynasty first overall pick personally. I got a 21 Justin Fields, a Konami Code guy who got a 2-year contract with a team who's not great. They've addressed the offensive line again and again, and they seem to keep missing, but I think maybe they got the guys now. They just need time to develop and gel. Some people have the Jets going offensive line again this year. I don't, personally. In my most recent mock, I think I had them going Mason Graham because he fell to them. Oh, excuse me. But you got Garrett Wilson. Fuck, I don't know. A lot of people have him going Tyler Warner or something tight end too. They could go tight end. They need tight end. They need a few things. They're the Jets. One thing they don't need is running back. I mean, you got Breece Hall, you got Braylon Allen, you got Isaiah Davis. And all three are decent receivers too. But losing Devontae Adams, losing damn it. Oh, that dude was good too. He was number 10. Fucking Packers guy. Shit. Whatever. Anyways, he was really going hard before he got injured. And they had 3 basically relevant fantasy wide receivers, just not really at the same time, but they all just had their moments. Conklin, he hasn't ever developed into the tight end we thought he was going to. Even still, Justin Fields, I think we'll be fine in that offense. Keep in mind, DJ Moore had his best career with Justin Fields at quarterback with the Bears. Garrett Wilson shouldn't get hurt too much. They do need to have weapons, but with the running backs and his running ability, and I do think their offensive line is going to be good enough. There's a lot of rushing upside here. Will they go Shadur Sanders if he falls to my number 7? Will they trade down or trade up from the second round to get Jackson Dart? I don't know. I will say Justin Fields' contract doesn't keep them from going quarterback, but I do think the holes and just the needs do, and Aaron Glenn, I don't think is going to do that just because, I mean, how the Lions built their team was kind of taking a forgotten quarterback and getting 2 extra firsts on top. Now, he was Jared Goff as opposed to Justin Fields, kind of completely different quarterbacks, but he did see Justin Fields a lot in the NFC North. He had to be a defensive coordinator against Justin Fields, and perhaps he saw a lot that he liked. Aaron Glenn's not unfamiliar with Justin Fields. So take that for what you want. I don't know. 20, I got Cam Ward. Don't know where he's going, but it's probably the Titans, but I can't write it in yet. He's the only other rookie quarterback I got in here, mainly because I don't like the situations or the quarterbacks as much as I did last year. That's why J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix are ahead of him. That's why, I mean, all of them are ahead of him, honestly. But, J.J. McCarthy, he's got Justin Jefferson. He's got Hawkinson. He's got Addison. They got Aaron Jones, and they also got Jordan Mason. They got a good defense. They got a good offensive coordinator. Yeah, I mean, Cam Ward, honestly, I don't think the Titans should really go quarterback here. I feel like he's going to a horrific situation. Good fucking luck. He does have a decent offensive mind, though. So he spent a lot of time with some quarterbacks who've had success. He's been there when they had success. He was part of the reason they had success. So hopefully he'll build it for Cam Ward, but it's not there yet, I don't think. I do think he's got a decent offensive line. With them going Mims and Skoronski the last 2 years in the first. I don't know. I mean, I guess he's throwing the Ridley. I don't know who the fuck he's throwing the ball to. Maybe that Hines guy, Westbrook Hines or something, who really took some people by surprise a couple weeks. But the run game's still whatever. I think they still got Pollard. Tajay Spears, though, I don't think it's anything. I didn't think he was anything last year when people were saying he's a buy low or whatever. I mean, the dude has no ligaments in his knees. I mean, what are we doing? Uh, but yeah, they need weapons. They got a lot of issues. Obviously, it'd be great to trade down. This probably isn't the draft to trade down. But judging by the actions of the Giants, signing Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston makes me think there is no opportunity to trade down. And also got kind of the Browns taking Shedeur Sanders because of that too. Because if Shedeur Sanders was going to be available, the Giants probably don't sign Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. Can't say for sure it's out, but I could definitely see Shedeur Sanders just dropping too. If the Browns don't take Shedeur Sanders, perhaps the Giants don't either. Then the Jets don't either. And my first mock had the Giants getting Cam Ward and the Jets getting Shedeur Sanders with no trades. I actually had the Titans, I think, going Travis Hunter and the Browns going Abdul Carter because that was before they re-signed Myles Garrett. That was when Myles Garrett wanted to get traded out. Now Myles Garrett's signing. I mean, they could go Travis Hunter, but I think they're going quarterback because they don't have a quarterback. I mean, they haven't signed one, right? I don't know who the fuck quarterback is. So, yeah. Anywho. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck Cam Ward's going to do with the Titans. Definitely year one, it's not going to be great. I don't think it's going to be Bryce Young bad. Let's hope not, but we'll see. JJ McCarthy, I kind of talked about his situation while I was talking about Cam Ward. It sounds like he's going to be the starter. We don't know what the fuck's going on with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he's retiring. I don't know if he's going to end up on a team. I have no idea what the fuck's going on with Aaron Rodgers. But it sounds like the Vikings aren't going to get him. So he's got some rushing upside. He's got some talent. He's got great weapons. He's in a really good situation. I think he's going to get the opportunity to play. They're going to give the reins to him. Hopefully he stays healthy and he's able to actually get on the field this year. And hopefully he shows us what he's capable of. Number 18, we got Brock Purdy with the 49ers. Not a big Purdy fan, although it was cool to see Mr. Irrelevant be relevant. He looked really good, but now he's getting a contract, and they're not going off of that 7th round rookie contract anymore, where he was getting $700,000 a year or something. He's getting close to $40 million a year, and it's hard to build a roster around a quarterback making $40 million a year. So you've seen Debo leave. You've seen them try to trade Ayuk, which looks like it's not going to happen, but either way, he's still coming off an ACL injury. So you got gunshot wound superhero Ricky Pearsall and elder George Kittle, who was tight end 1 last year. So it's not like he's falling off. Hopefully McCaffrey's a little healthy, and that's basically like a great wide receiver right there too. But the offensive line isn't what it was. I do think they're going to address offensive line in the draft. He wants to dominate the line of scrimmage. He's smart. He knows it's hard to do much of anything if you can't run the ball or protect the quarterback. Offensive line is extremely important, and Trent Williams is only getting older. So, yeah, you're going to have to make a move there. I think there's some good wide receivers around 2 and 3, so he can fill in the gaps there. Also, Juwan Jennings was much better than people anticipated or believed, and I do like Jacob Cohen a little bit as well. The wide receiver room, essentially, I guess is what I'm saying, might not be that bad. But I don't know if it's good enough to carry Brock Purdy. And he has looked like a late round pick lately, I guess. Definitely the second half of last season. When he doesn't have his weapons, Deebo Samuel kind of falling off either to weight or, he's got that little pudge. I don't know if he's just lazy, older, injured, out of shape. But he didn't. He ran the ball more than he caught the ball last year, I feel like. And that was also partly because of McCaffrey being injured too. And I guess then Mason, although Garindo looked good in relief of both of those guys. And I think that's one reason why they felt comfortable getting rid of Mason was because of Garindo. I'll get to that on my running back rankings. I think he's in my top 30, 35, whatever. But yeah, I don't know what to expect with Purdy. They went and got Mac Jones, the guy that they probably should have drafted number 3 overall. Was it 2021 or whatever? I don't know. When they took Trey Lance, they traded up. Originally, a lot of people thought they traded up to get Mac Jones. Well, he's there now. And he's like, $6 million a year? Take those two things into account, and He's better than Mr. Irrelevant at 700,000 probably. Man, no Mr. Irrelevant outplayed Mr. Irrelevant, but keep in mind he was the last pick in the NFL draft. People were not high on him at all. So maybe Shanahan's just a beast. He's gonna get his hands on Mac Jones, and maybe Mac Jones ends up being the starting quarterback late this season, second half of this season, or next season. Either way, Brock Purdy's got the reins to begin the year, and we'll see what he can do. Hopefully, he can find some of that irrelevant. Is it irrelevant? Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant magic. My bad. A fat tongue. Girls like it though. Number 17, we got MPJ. Big Penix energy. I need some of that. I want him on my team. Just feel like with the Penix energy, so much Penix energy, I could do some good things. Talk about what girls like. They love that Penix energy, man. So fucking big. So much energy. But he's in a great situation. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Kyle Pitts, who I still kind of believe am a believer in. Drake London, the emergence of Darnell Mooney. There's other dudes too. I got Zachariah. No, Zachariah's on that team. Zachariah's might have been on the Commanders. I can't remember all these people, all the player moment. But either way, they had another dude besides Mooney though. I think he's still there. I wish I could think of his name. Anywho, decent offensive line. They could address the offensive line, I guess, but it's decent. I got them going defense, I think, with their first round pick. But either way, I was a big fan of Michael Penix last year. He was my wide receiver 2, I think, after Drake May, just ahead of Jaden Daniels. They were about the same grade, I guess. Same tier, everything was the same. Pretty much just I had him. It was like a 2A, 2B kind of thing. Jaden Daniels because of the mobility. Michael Penix, he does have the mobility, but he doesn't have the durability to use it. But Michael Penix just throws darts. God, he can just layer the ball beautifully. Same consistent throwing motion. Efficient, just smooth, quick release. Smooth spiral, catchable ball. Effortlessly just, put some zip on it. Flick of the wrist type shit. Definitely has some arm strength though, especially for a left-hander, which is not usually the case other than Michael Vick. Anywho, he's number 17. 16, Kyler Murray. Not a fan of Kyler Murray, not gonna lie. I don't know. He plays video games. He was the number 1 overall pick. He just, it's annoying. I feel like defense has kind of cut on to him. I mean, what was it, 2022, 2021? He was like an MVP candidate. They were like 9-0, I think. And they didn't make the playoffs that year. And ever since then, I feel like it's been done. He's just done. He gets MHJ last year, can't seem to get on the ball. Not that MHJ had a horrible year, but wasn't near as good as it could have been. And yeah, outside of Marvin Harrison, I mean, I guess you just got Wilson. You've had Rondell Moore. You've had Dortch, I guess. I don't know. You've had a lot of dudes who just haven't come through. You had Christian Kirk. I guess Christian Kirk had a halfway decent year. His favorite target's clearly Trey McBride, who might be tight end 1. I mean, he's definitely a fan favorite, but just a tight end isn't going to really make you fantasy relevant. And he's fast, he's mobile, but he doesn't use his legs. He's scared to take hits. He kind of just barely uses it. I mean, it's like his last resort, and he doesn't prioritize it at all when it probably should be prioritized as one of his biggest strengths, especially when you're like 5'10". You need to create throwing angles. You need to find holes, in between the offensive and defensive line, because unless you're just going to put arc underneath it, or unless shotgun should be like 7-8 yards. I mean, when he's in the shotgun, he should definitely be a yard or 2 back further, because he needs a little bit more distance, I think, to get over the line of scrimmage. I mean, defenders have kind of stopped rushing him and just kind of contain and get their hands up. And there's a lot of batted balls, the line of scrimmage. There's a lot of missed coverage because he can't see over the line. It causes a lot of issues. So you got to move him around the pocket and create throwing lanes. And he needs to do the same with his legs, but I feel like he just doesn't do it good enough. He doesn't trust himself. He doesn't trust his eyes. Could be because he's not looking at film or, reading the playbook because he's playing fucking video games. I don't fucking know. Maybe he doesn't take it serious as a pro, or maybe he's just limited. Either way, I'm not a fan of him. I don't want him on my team. 16 might be low. He might perform better than that, but I don't see a lot of growth, and his ceiling is maybe QB 12. He's not going to be much higher than that, and I feel like some of these other guys have a higher ceiling with just about as high a floor. So that's where he's at. Number 16 for me. Prove me wrong. Number 15, Jordan Love. I had him, I was like, QB 7, I think, a year ago. And boy, did he underperform. I really bought into that 1 year starting, and I liked his wide receiver core too. I thought he had one of the deepest, youngest wide receiver cores. My number one on that team is Romeo Dobbs, with Christian Watson being a close second and Jaden Reed being the third. I was not high on Jaden Reed. I did not buy in on Jaden Reed, and Jaden Reed didn't do anything last year to prove me wrong. However, Christian Watson did. I'm all for Christian Watson. Romeo Dobbs, not really high on him either. I don't think I have any of the wide receivers in the top 35, truthfully. They really need to address the position, I think. I think their best receivers are the tight ends. Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave are both very good and talented, I think. Very big targets. But Jordan Love's got to figure it out. Hopefully he has a better year 3. As a starter, that is. I think it's like year 5 or something. I don't really know how long he's been in the NFL. I do know he was on the bench for first couple of years. Josh Jacobs was a good addition. I was a fan of Marshawn Lloyd. He was injured, didn't really play. I don't know how he's going to help the passing game, really, either one of those guys, except, just a run can set up play action and, keep defenses honest, or make, defenses have to pay attention on play action, or, RPOs, any read options. He is kind of mobile. He does have some mobile upside, but, he doesn't really use it. He's not going to really get you He sneakily got some rushing touchdowns, I thought, his first year as a starter in 2023. But in 2024, it didn't seem like there was any rushing upside whatsoever. So, not really banking on that. He's number 15. Number 14, I got Patrick Mahomes. Go ahead and leave the comments. All the hate. I love it. Cherish it. But honestly, just not high on him. I think he was QB 12 last year, and that's fine. I think the year before that he was QB 7 or 6. I don't know. So it could be a temporary fall off. Yeah, he had a lot of injuries, I guess, or the Rashee Rice injury for sure. I guess Hollywood Brown too. Hollywood Brown came back from injury and didn't do anything. They brought Hollywood Brown back. I'm not expecting a lot more there. Rashee Rice coming off injury, you don't know what to expect there. Then there's also a suspension looming, so what's that going to do? You got Travis Kelce coming back. I feel like that's a con because he's a detriment to the team, honestly. I mean, Gray didn't perform better because Gray isn't targeted like Kelce is, but Gray looked a lot better a lot of the time. And with Kelce coming back, it doesn't look like Gray is going to get that much more opportunity. I don't know why the hell he doesn't hang it up. Just go marry Taylor Swift and call it a fucking day. Do podcasts with your brother. Do fucking commercials. And live that, retired life. But I guess the Super Bowl left a bad taste in his mouth. He doesn't want to walk off the field like that, with that being his last game and last performance, because did he even catch the ball? I mean, I could have honestly thought he didn't even shut the fuck up. And I feel like 2025 is going to be probably a continuation of that. It looks like he's in quicksand. And if that's going to be Mahomes' number one target or favorite target, which I know he has kind of gravitated towards Worthy recently, but he didn't show a good ability to hit Worthy on deep balls or really use Worthy a lot. I mean, he had late in the year, it kind of came on. The playoffs, obviously, he did hit him on that deep ball in the Super Bowl. That was the only time he hit him on a deep ball. He actually hit him on 2 deep balls. One went for a touchdown. The other one went about 50 yards for a pretty big game. And yeah, that might be a little bit of what's more to come. I do like Worthy personally, but that doesn't make me love Mahomes at all. There's still no running game. The offensive line's still atrocious. I think they're going to have to address it in the draft because they don't have the money to address it in free agency, really, although they did what they could. And, yeah, you're going to have to probably get a wide receiver. Probably need to get a tight end if you don't think Gray's the guy. This is the year to get a tight end. Get a Harold Fanning or Rondé Gatson. Harold Fanning might be a perfect replacement for Kelce, honestly, considering they both could be off-ball tight ends or offline, not inline or like slot tight ends. Fannin showed that he can do it at Miami of Ohio. I mean, led the fucking nation in receptions and yards. Either way, yeah, I just don't know what's going on over there. And as of right now, I got him QB 14 because honestly, everyone above him, I would rather have in Dynasty, personally. I think they're going to score more points. I think they got higher ceilings. I think they got better looking futures because I've only seen Mahomes regress. I mean, it's kind of obnoxious to say his best years are behind him, but we saw versions of this with Wentz. Wentz was a MVP candidate before he got injured and then just fell off. And I know it's not the same at all, but there are quarterbacks who just degress. They get caught up in their Kool-Aid or defenses figure them out. I mean, he holds the ball way too long. He's trying to do that Mahomes magic way too much. And sure, he still pulls it out sometimes, but a lot of times this year, there wasn't magic on the end. There was a lot of luck. I mean, you had missed field goals, you had blocked field goals, you had defenses getting sacks or interceptions. His defense has been carrying him kind of the last 2 years, honestly. It could be maybe Andy Reid, too. Maybe he's just been there too long or whatever, or he's too outdated. I don't know. It could just be 1 year, and I'm just jumping out the fucking deep end with it. But I saw it in 2023 too. It's not exactly 1 year in my opinion. And in 2023 he was insane in the playoffs. He had one of the best playoff runs ever, but he didn't have that in 2024. He had games where he didn't target a wide receiver, didn't have a catch with a wide receiver. It was just crazy shit. I mean, that's wild. I mean, how do you not have a catch from a wide receiver? Or maybe it's just Worthy had a catch. I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but it was just some awful fucking games. Like, that's on Reed, that's on Mahomes, that's on the whole fucking team, the whole offense. I mean, and you have DeAndre Hopkins, who pretty good at getting open, has pretty good hands. You got Kelsey, who's been pretty reliable, although that's not a wide receiver technically. That's why that stat happened. You got Xavier Worthy, who was a first-round pick and pretty much stays open. I mean, you can scheme him open. I mean, shit, just run a fucking smoke screen. Just have a fucking nothing route and just throw it over there. Or run a fucking legit wide receiver screen where he fucking motions in a little bit or something. Or just have him fucking motion in and just do a crossing route. Because no one's going to keep up with him run laterally. I mean, you give him some fucking field to run, he's going to fucking get a lead. You get him motion, head start. Good fucking luck. You used to do that shit all the time with Tyreek Hill. I don't know why the fuck you forgot how to use that speed to your advantage. Ain't that fucking difficult. Until I see it, this is where they're at. I would love for me to be wrong, though, because I got Xavier Worthy on damn near every fucking team. So I wish they used him a lot more and knew how to fucking use him. Hopefully they figure it out. Xavier Worthy ain't the fucking problem. That motherfucker did good. I mean, he caught the ball. He was open a lot. He had separation all the fucking time. But Mahomes wouldn't even fucking look at him until like week 9. And then he starts having some of his better games. But Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, a lot of them still just weren't getting involved. It just is what it is. Number 13, we got Baker Mayfield. Buccaneers. They lost their offensive coordinator, so that's probably why he's this low, honestly. And I'm not sure what to expect with Godwin coming back from injury, and I'm not a very, real believer in McMillan. The fact that they signed Godwin maybe says something about McMillan too. It could just be appreciation for Godwin too. And I think Godwin took a pay cut, so that's what he said to stay there. I think I don't know. Either way, Evans is there, and I think Evans will be a top 12 wide receiver next year. I mean, he is until he isn't. He just keeps fucking getting 1,000-yard seasons, almost double-digit touchdowns every single fucking year. He's a fucking problem. And that's going to raise Mayfield's floor for sure. The emergence of Otten during those injuries, it's another weapon. It's something to use. Now, obviously, when McMillan, I guess, got involved, or when really it was Evans. Evans missed like 3 games with a quad. So you had Godwin and Evans all out. So basically McMillan and Jarrett and I don't know, all their other receivers. So Otten really emerged then. But once Evans got back from injury, Otten finished tight end 14. So that kind of says enough right there. But he's still there and he's still capable. Bucky Irvin and Rashad White are both good receivers. Receiving tight ends. So it's kind of the offensive coordinator. It's kind of the injuries. That's why he's this low. But I actually would pick him to be a riser or to finish higher than his rank, more so than Patrick Mahomes personally. I'd pick Jordan Love to finish higher in his rank, more so than Patrick Mahomes also. Even Kyler Murray, just because of the mobility. I don't know. I see people, they want to put Patrick Mahomes up there, and I look at it, I'm like, well, he's almost 30, which is he's like a year younger than Jared Goff, which they act like Jared Goff's so old and like just ruined. Yet Jared Goff's finished better than him the last 3 years, I think. Or he's been a top 10 QB the last 3 years. Mahomes was like QB1 3 years ago, I think. So they're definitely going in different directions, though. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Mahomes is you're making $50 million a year. It's starting to show. That roster is it's not keeping up. He signed a 10-year contract, I think, and he signed his a couple years ago. So he's $45 million. I think he did 10 years, $450 million. So his will actually be one of the cheaper ones as the cap keeps increasing. So, but we'll see if he gets it restructured or something too. Right now, he's not deserving to be the highest paid quarterback personally. I know his resume is amazing, but what have you done for me lately? What are you gonna do for me going forward? That's what you should get paid for. That's how you should be ranked. That's how you should be viewed. And there's nothing right now saying he deserves to be higher than 14. And Baker Mayfield, there is things where you can say that about rank number 13. I mean, his weapons are better, his situation's better, except for the offensive coordinator possibly leaving. He's looked better, and he's also about the same age. Maybe he's a year younger than Mahomes. I don't know. They're basically the same age too. Below that, you got Trevor Lawrence. I'm just kind of believing in the talent, and I'm believing that maybe the situation's finally turned a corner, although he did lose Evan Ingram, and that bothers me a little bit. But Brian Thomas Jr.'s emergence. They're bringing Christian Kirk back, right? Is Christian Kirk come back? I don't know. Anyways, he looked pretty good with Christian Kirk one season. Do they still give Gabe Davis? Not really high on Gabe Davis. I do think they'll draft weapon or two. There's a chance at number 5 Travis Hunter falls to him. Now he might be cornerback if that's the case, but still he might play wide receiver too. And I do like Brenton Strange, Evan Ingram's replacement, which I think will be the replacement. I don't think they're gonna target a tight end early in the draft to replace Evan Ingram. They may draft one because it's a deep tight end class, and there's a hole there now. But I do think Brenton Strange is the dude who's gonna take over. He looked good whenever Evan Ingram was injured. And coincidentally, the offensive coordinator, Baker Mayfield's old offensive coordinator, is now his head coach. So hopefully it works out. I don't know. I just was this his third head coach, his fourth or fifth different offensive system? I mean, it's not. How are you supposed to be successful under that? Hopefully he's not ruined. Anyways, 12 isn't that high, but I do think there's opportunity for him to have kind of a good season and I don't really know how to word it, vitalized or coming of age or whatever. I mean, I don't think any of those are really accurate. Just productive and encouraging season, I guess. Let's put it that way. Number 11 is Drake May with the Patriots. I don't know about his situation improving too much. Can't be worse though. He's gonna have Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator, who's been a good offensive coordinator, but usually he was a good offensive coordinator with a good defense. When he was head coach, his offenses. In all fairness, he didn't have Tom Brady and quite the weapons that the Patriots had. Not that the Patriots always had great weapons, but they did have a great quarterback and a great mind. Maybe Jalen Polk they get some out of Jalen Polk. Maybe they get some out of Javon Baker. I got them going offensive line at number 4 if they stay at number 4. They could go Hunter if Hunter falls to them. If they do get Hunter, I think he's a wide receiver just because they got Christian Gonzalez at cornerback. And there's more of a need at wide receiver, I think. And plus, I like Travis Hunter as a wide receiver personally. Travis Hunter's just like an enigma this draft. I mean, he's so He could go anywhere from number 1 overall to like number 7 overall. I have no idea where the fuck he's gonna go. I have no idea what teams' plans are with him. So I mentioned Travis Hunter a number of times with a couple of these dudes because I love him as a wide receiver, and a lot of these teams that we've seen are picking, within the range where he could go, and he'd be a hell of an addition for any one of these teams. And if he goes there, well, maybe whatever team he goes to, that quarterback maybe jumps up 2 or 3 spots just on that. If he is going to be primarily a wide receiver. I mean, Travis Hunter goes to the Jets and he's with fucking Garrett Wilson. Alan Lazar was the wide receiver I couldn't think of, by the way. They lost. It eventually comes. But yeah, he ends up over there. I mean, Fields is probably up there with J.J. McCarthy then with his running ability. And then those 2 wide receivers. And then also the catching ability of Breece Hall. And yeah, I'm kind of excited about Justin Fields if he ends up with the Jets. If he goes to the Giants, I don't have Russell Wilson on this list. I don't know if he makes it, but it doesn't suck. Who else is it? The Raiders, yeah. Geno Smith goes up, probably. I mean, he's still older. He's still on a 2-year contract, so I can't move him up too much just on that because. But he looks good, and he's only 33, 34 maybe. I mean, he doesn't look like he's slowing down. Literally, he's still mobile. He's still pretty athletic. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say until we know where he goes. And I guess with Drake May, until we see what they draft and how the draft plays out for them. I like offensive line just because, you got to protect them, and plus they need to run the ball. Actually, I think I got Kelvin Banks going there, which is primarily a pass blocker, but he's just the number 1 tackle on my board, and I think he's the safest pick. He's the highest floor. I mean, he's been a 3-year starter at UT. He's gone up against tons of first-round talent, so I think he'd be an excellent left tackle to pair with Drake May. Also, Mimbu played primarily right tackle. You don't usually draft right tackles 4th overall. But Mimbu is up there too. I mean, God, 330 pounds running like he did. It's just an athletic freak, and tape is fucking good too. And his system was very favorable with a lot of RPO, a lot of short passes. He didn't have to really withstand a lot of blocks, and he didn't really have defenders kind of pin their ears back because they had to be alert with all the backfield movement, and motion, and jet sweeps, and RPO read option stuff, and just all the screens, inside screens. It was definitely advantageous, I think, for Mimbu. Similarly for Will Campbell, I mean, blocking for Jaden Daniels is not difficult. If you don't block, if you just stand there and let the dude run by you, there's still like a 70% chance he doesn't sack Jaden Daniels. So I definitely think Will Campbell's stats are a little boosted, and coincidentally, his junior year was his worst year. Oh, that's the first year he didn't have Jaden Daniels. I don't know. Maybe it's something. Maybe it's nothing. That being said, he is smart. He's brilliant. He called out all the blocking assignments and blitzes at the line of scrimmage for his team. He definitely has a high IQ, and I don't think the arm length is an issue or anything. And he ran below a 5-second 42. He's extremely athletic for his size. I think it's actually a very talented tackle class, honestly. I just don't think Will Campbell's number 1. I don't think he's better than Kelvin Banks personally, but that's not what we're talking about. I think any one of those would be a great addition for Drake May and help him out significantly. They did get Stephon Diggs, but he's coming off of a knee injury. Demario Douglas, he's cool. Just a lot to see there, but I like the talent. He was my QB1 a year ago. He's mobile. He did a pretty good job with not a lot around him, and I'm intrigued to see how they look next year with Vrabel as head coach and Josh McDaniels as OC. Bo Nix is 10. Bo Nix could definitely outperform this. He did outperform. I think he was like QB7 or something. He was very fucking good, but I'm assuming some guys, I guess, do better and situations improve, I guess. I don't know. His situation should improve too. They honestly, They could win the division because I don't have the Chiefs being that good next year, personally. I have the Chargers and Broncos both being improved, and the Raiders, too, honestly. That division is going to be pretty difficult. And yeah, the Chargers or Broncos could be fighting for the division title. They might be the two best teams in that division next year. Wouldn't surprise me. But Bo Nix would have to have kind of like a second year jump and not a second year slump. Typically, there is a second year slump. You kind of saw it with Jordan Love, even though it wasn't a second year. You saw it with CJ Stroud. Can't think of others, but I mean, Anthony Richardson, I guess, although he didn't play enough in his rookie year to really warrant a second year slump. I mean, fucking 6 quarters is not enough time for me to judge a dude and say that he had a second year slump when we're not sure he had a first year success. But yeah, I mean, Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin. They lost Dolchik. I think they cut or traded Dolchik last year. A lot of people have them drafting a tight end. I think I have them getting Loveland at number 20. Some people have them drafting a running back too. I don't have them drafting a running back in the first, although they could. I mean, Peyton did draft Mark Ingram, but he also drafted Alvin Kamara. He also used Taysom Hill. I think Sean Payton knows you can find running backs outside the first. You don't have to reach for a running back. People talk about he wants to run the ball and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, he wants to, but that's fine. You don't have to address in the first. Same thing with Pete Carroll and the Raiders. It's like, yeah, he wants to run the ball, but you don't. I mean, you got Kenneth Walker in the second. You got Zach Charbonnet in the second. Marshawn Lynch was the first round draft pick, but that was like fucking 2013 or something. 2012. It was a different era. And it was a different draft. This draft is deep as fucking running back. Like, why would you draft the running back number 6 overall? You're also not that Seahawks team where you were okay to draft the running back in the first. You had a good defense. You had the Legion of Doom or Boom or whatever. You had a good team. I mean, you were... Yeah, I don't know. Wait, he didn't draft Marshawn Lynch, though. The Bills did. He traded for Marshawn Lynch. Did he trade a first-round pick for Marshawn Lynch? I don't know. Yeah, the Bills drafted Marshawn Lynch in the first. Which they drafted like Isaiah Spiller, too, or something. They went back-to-back or some shit like that. It wasn't smart. Anywho, I just don't see that happening. So... Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do at 20, but even if they don't draft, I mean, I'm excited about Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Velli still there, Devon Velli, and then Courtland Sutton is an underrated beast. Number 9, Caleb Williams. You got Ben Johnson over there. You still got Roma Dunze. I think they lost Keenan Allen, or he's a free agent still. Cole Kmet's there. I mean, Cole Kmet has some weird analytics, dog. Let's see if I can pull this shit up. Don't know if I got this somewhere. Next gen stats. So in 2023, Cole Kmet had an 81% catch percentage. That was second overall. Let's see if I can find. This past year in 2024, he was first. 85.45 catch percentage. I mean, he had 47 receptions on 55 targets. So, like, in 2023, he had 73 receptions on 90 targets. Like, even getting a high target share, he was still 81%. That's wild as fuck to me. He just needs more targets. And Ben Johnson, I'm pretty sure, is aware of that. So, and honestly, that's why I got Cole Kmet kind of high on my tight end rankings. You're going to see that. Because Ben Johnson did use Laporta. And he used Hawk a little bit before that. Roma Dunze probably gets a bump. I think DJ Moore maybe gets a bump. Some people have them going Ashton Genty just because the lines went Gibbs. The Lions also went and got Montgomery and other stuff, and coincidentally the Bears had Montgomery and I don't know what was he, a second or third round pick. They got DeAndre Swift right now, who was with the Lions, who Ben Johnson already has familiarity with, and I think is probably thinks he can do just fine with DeAndre Swift. The only problem with him was he was not healthy with the Lions. I don't see the Bears getting a running back at 10 personally. I mean, that'd be weird for Ben Johnson's first draft pick to be a running back. It's just, I don't know about that. Anywho, wasn't the biggest fan of Caleb Williams. The talent, I think he's my QB4 that year. May, Penix, Daniels were ahead of him, and he was like right there with JJ McCarthy. I mean, he was just slightly. I think I gave him a 93 grade, which is a late first, and JJ McCarthy had a 92 grade, which is like an early second, maybe a later first. I don't know. 93 could be like 20 to 25th or something. It's late first, early second, depending on whatever. Probably not a top 20 pick, and then like 92 overall is the same thing. Maybe it's like 25th to 40th or something. I don't know. 15 pick range there. And yeah, Caleb Williams didn't really do a lot to dissuade me from that. I mean, I saw him in USC. Yeah, he won the Heisman in 2022. But in 2023, he had without Jordan Addison. He just held the ball. It reminded me a lot of Patrick Mahomes, where he kind of like just bought into his Kool-Aid. He bought into like the magic, always trying to make a play instead of taking what the defense gives you, instead of grinding out yards and points, just holding the ball way too long, waiting for I don't know what the hell. I mean, taking unnecessary sacks, taking unnecessary hits, unnecessary turnovers, just wasting unnecessary downs either by scrambling out of bounds for like a yard or two or throwing it away to avoid the sack or the hit. Caleb did that at USC, and that continued with the Bears. Ben Johnson will probably help him with that. Hopefully he can pick it up and do it. We'll see. Jared Goff, I got number 8, mainly because he lost Ben Johnson, but I do feel like there's enough of the core there that they can handle losing Ben Johnson. I mean, the talent's still going to be there. You're still going to have Amon-Ra. You're still going to have James Williams. Still going to have Laporta. Still going to have Gibbs. Still going to have Montgomery. They hired an offensive coordinator who's familiar with them, who was like an analyst or passing game coordinator or something 2 years ago or something. It's been like the last 2 years of the Broncos, I guess, or something. And Sean Payton, and they're all kind of from the Payton coaching tree, as is Dan Campbell. So I'm not sure what kind of fall it's going to happen with Jared Goff, if any, but just because of that, I put a number 8. Plus, I do like these quarterbacks going. I think C.J. Stroud's going to have a revival. I mean, he's losing Diggs, and we're not sure Dell's going to come back. And he lost his offensive coordinator, Slovic, whatever the fuck. Can't remember who replaced him, but I think he's from the 49ers. So it's someone I guess D'Amico's familiar with. Nico's a beast. Mixon was great for him. The offensive line's question. I got them going O-line in the first round. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they trade up to really get an offensive lineman. I love the mocks that have Kelvin Banks falling to him. I think that's absurd. I don't think that's going to happen, but if that does happen, that would be the steal of the draft, in my opinion. I mean, you replace Tunsil with Kelvin Banks? Yes, please. I think I got them going Donovan Jackson, mainly because a lot of the tackle prospects are gone, and I don't trust Josh Simmons with his knee injury. Not to mention, his grades this past season, all that great film that he had where he, dominated and didn't put a foot wrong. Well, he didn't play anyone. He played Marshall, and yeah, they got Mike Green, but he didn't go up against Mike Green. He had like 3 reps against Mike Green. Mike Green, I think, still had a sack or 2 in that game. Just not against Josh Simmons. So, or had pressures at the very least. Josh Simmons coming off that knee injury. the Texans can't afford to wait on that. They can't take the gamble that he's not going to be ready day one. And they just haven't done good drafting offensive linemen. So why would you draft an injured one? I mean, Titus Howard didn't play tackle, ended up moving to guard. Kenyon Green was fucking ass. Juice Struggs has been okay. Donovan Jackson, I think at the very least you get a strong guard, but he stepped in at left tackle after Josh Simmons got hurt, and he was left tackle during that insane playoff run that they had. Where they had to play, Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and Notre Dame. And I don't know if he gave a sack during that run. And that's James Pierce, that's Baron Sorrell, that's Colin Simmons, Ethan Burke. Who does Notre Dame have? I can't remember. But Oregon's got Dan Harmon and Jordan Birch, Mateo Ugalele. I mean, there was a lot of talented edge rushers, and he just got better as the year went on. He has the good length. He has athleticism. He has film now. He's got experience at both guard positions and now left tackle. He seems like a safe pick. I think he is a first rounder, and I think he can play tackle. At the very least, he's going to be a good guard. There's a lot of talk about who the Texans might draft without knowing it, but I do know they got to address the offensive line, and they probably got to get a receiver or two. How they might go tight end too. It's a good tight end class, although Schultz has been all right. I think you can upgrade Schultz, and he is only getting older, and I think he's about to be out of contract soon. And are you going to want to re-sign him when you got to pay Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud? Probably not. So, yeah, we'll see what they do in the draft. Either way, I'm trusting the talent, I'm trusting the player. I guess I'm trusting the Texans to improve his situation and put him in put the right pieces around him for him to succeed. Number 6, Justin Herbert. I think he's got the highest ceiling. He's going to be the highest riser, I think. Like, he's got like top 3 potential, I think. Quentin Johnson, who I'm higher on than most people, he had a year 2 bump, especially considering year 1 was awful and he barely even fucking played. Year 2 was really good, and then he got injured. He was actually kind of neck and neck with Ladd McConkey on fantasy points, at least, because he was getting the touchdowns, even though Ladd was getting the volume. Quentin Johnson, I think, was also getting the yards. Ladd was getting like a lot of 6 receptions for 60 yards, and Quentin Johnson was maybe getting like 3 or 4 receptions for like 60 yards and a touchdown. Because he was more of the deep threat and the red zone threat. I feel like that'll happen or continue to happen. Some people have them going wide receiver at number 22 overall. I'd be surprised. So I've seen him go first of all, T-Mac. I don't think he's falling that far. But also, I don't think you're drafting the same type of player Quentin Johnson is. I know they're not like for like. Like, Quentin Johnson's more of a go route guy. T-Mac's more of like a high volume, Mike Evans, Drake London kind of guy where he can run a variety of different routes. He can run the comebacks. He can be, just what Herman Moore was and stuff. That just 140 target, 100 reception kind of guy where he just moves the chains. He makes it, second short, or he can get those 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, because he's a big target, big wide receiver with reliable hands who, catches the ball away from his frame and, uses his catch radius in advantageous ways. More so than Quentin Johnson. But Quentin Johnson checks a lot of those boxes too. And then you also got Ladd there. Who's capable of getting open a variety of different ways in the slot. You can put him in motion. You can line him up wherever, and he's a problem. One of the highest, I think, as far as separation grades go and open grades go, I guess. And then he's got the hands to back it up too. It's not like he's just getting open in separation without, the ability to really finish the play or haul the ball in. He's got some of the best hands. So, and supposedly they want to throw the ball more. I know they want to run the ball more too. I do think they will draft a halfback. It could be at 22. I mean, it could be Genty. I guess it could be Hampton. That's kind of where a lot of people have, Hampton going. It's 22 to the Chargers. I think if Loveland's there, they definitely go Loveland above everyone. But I actually have Loveland coming off the board before that. But if the tight ends were to slip, I could see Loveland definitely going there, considering Harbaugh's relationship with Loveland back at Michigan, where he recruited him. And I think Loveland's the best tight end in this draft. Not only highest ceiling, highest potential, best fantasy, but also, I mean, from run blocking and just everything. I mean, he's the best tight end. He's definitely a better run blocker than Tyler Warren. And Herbert's still kind of mobile and has some rushing upside, and I think Herbert could be a huge riser. Number 5, Jalen Hurts. Eagles definitely had some bad games last year. But he's still got A.J. Brown. He's still got Devontae Smith. He's got Barkley, who's a good receiver. They got Gainwell, who's a decent receiving back, as well as Will Shipley. He's still got that insane offensive line and that good defense and just a good team where he's going to have the score and time possession probably in his favor. He's going to have field position in his favor. His defense is going to generate some turnovers, which is going to give him some short fields. He's going to have a lot of red zone opportunities. They outlaw the tush push. I feel like that some rules were just made. Let me Google this right quick because the tush push obviously hampers him a little bit. I love that shit, though. Just give it to Barkley. Tush push ban has support in committee. It's a question mark. NFL tush push ban. Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid, and Sean McDermott cite injuries. Colts, Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen weigh in on the tush push. So it's not official yet, but they're trying to get it banned. They've been trying to get it banned the last 3 or 4 years. But it does have support from the NFL competition committee, supposedly. So, I mean, maybe that happens. And then maybe then we really got to talk about him falling. He could be behind Jared Goff then if that's the case, because, I mean, 14 rushing touchdowns, more than half of those, I mean, at least 10 of those are tush push. God, I love that because Saquon Barkley could break the rushing touchdown record. I mean, if you give him Jalen Hurts fucking touchdowns, he is very close to that record. He could break the yards and the touchdown record next year. He could break all-purpose yards too. If he becomes more of a receiver, which I wish would happen. And very well might happen with tush push ban too. I mean, they might get a little more creative on fourth down. Although they did start kind of doing like a tush push fake with a pitch, where they would fake the tush push and then pitch it out to Barkley, and that worked a couple times. A couple times it didn't work, but I love the creativity out of it. I love getting them thinking that you're doing something. I think you really got to get them with the cadence and the snap count. You got to get them on the adjustment. If you go up there and you don't do the hard count, you just quick hike it, because they're not going to be ready for that pitch. I think on a quick hike. Like if you just go up there, fucking hands under center, boom, just go, and then do the fake tush push, because they'll be nervous about not jumping the snap on that, and they'll try to overcompensate, I think, for the tush push, and just really leave the pitch wide open. If you go up there and you're doing your cadence and they're able to actually get in their stance and watch the ball, really pay attention, I feel like it gives them a little more time to maybe. It's more just catch them off guard in the tush push and then not tush pushing. So, I mean, when you get caught off guard in something and you're expecting something, I mean, if you're caught off guard, you're going to go to your original thought. You're going to go to your instincts. You're going to go to, probability. You're just going to go with that naturally. You're not going to be disciplined. You're not going to be thinking anything else because you're already done. You're thinking, oh, fuck. They hiked the ball. I wasn't ready. In my opinion. I don't know. But either way, tush push ban kind of takes that away. Anyways. And they didn't run that enough for me to really benefit from that as a Barkley shareholder. Anyways, he's not he's not awful at throwing the ball. I mean, he proved that in the playoff and stuff. I mean, with A.J. Brown being healthy, he's a different quarterback. When A.J. Brown isn't healthy, it's a problem. Devontae Smith, I don't think is ever going to graduate. So great, wide receiver 2 or, fantasy killer. Goddard either, really. But when Brown is injured, Goddard definitely does get a lot more usage and step up. I do like Johnny Wilson. He didn't really do anything to warrant more opportunity, or he was awful. Honestly, I can't sugarcoat it. But he was a rookie. It was his first year. He's still like a 6'7", 230-pound wide receiver that runs like a low 4.5, like a 4.51 or something. Who still could put on some weight, maybe transition to tight end, be an off-ball tight end or something, or be a red zone threat. He's got an insane catch radius. I mean, he's got like a 7-foot wingspan. I mean, his catch radius is no fucking joke. He's also got close to a 40-inch vertical. Problem is he doesn't have hands. He's got like 10-inch hands. He's got big-ass hands, but he doesn't have hands. I don't know why he has so many fucking drops and why he's just is so... Just catch the fucking ball. And you would be... you're unguardable if you just catch the fucking ball. Anywho, we got Jalen Hurts 5. I can't put him higher, honestly. Burrow's 4. Higgins with a 2-year contract. Then you got Chase, highest paid now. Those two being locked up, I think, just keeps Burrow there already. They'll probably add a receiver since Jermaine Burton's a head case, and I don't even know if he's with the team anymore. And Eric All looked decent as a tight end, and you also had Gesicki, but they could address that too, maybe. They definitely need defense, though, if anything. I mean, you got Joe Burrow over here, having an insane year, and you don't even make the playoffs. Like, you can't throw for more yards, throw for more touchdowns, score more points than the Bengals did. There's no excuse not to make the playoffs. How you don't win enough games with that type of production from your quarterback position, just from your offense, is it's ridiculous. So I got them going defense with their first 2 picks, probably. They have to just defend better. They cannot give up more points than what that prolific, explosive offense is scoring. I mean, that's crazy. Not a lot more really to say. His situation's great. His O-line's gotten better. Still could improve, but like I said, it's gotten better. He's fine, I think. He's not going to die. Hopefully his injuries are behind him. He had a QB1 season a year ago, and without running the quarterback, without being a rushing quarterback, really. I don't think he was QB. I think he was QB3 or 2. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like as long as he's healthy, that's going to be the case. And really, every season he has been healthy, he's been like a top 7 fantasy quarterback. So right now, I got him kind of where people would have Mahomes. He's doing the Mahomes things. He's not winning the Super Bowls, but from a fantasy perspective, from a situation, it's all lined up. He produces that level. He's got players that produce that level, that allow him to produce that level, and his situation allows him to produce that level. Now, the defense giving up so many points definitely helped him. He might not play as deep into games or be throwing as much or as often in games if they're not coming from behind or they're not in close matchups. So if his defense improves significantly, then that could weigh on his fantasy production or his fantasy outcomes, but fantasy output. But I don't know how much it's going to change overnight or this off season. Definitely needs to improve, and anything's pretty much an improvement. But I still feel like he's going to be used heavily and prominently, and honestly, a good defense could help him. It could get him shorter fields. It could, give him more red zone opportunities. It could help in a lot of different ways. Number 3, we got Jane Daniels. I loved Jane Daniels with Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn a year ago. Drafted him, I think, number 3 overall, and he was my QB1 in fantasy drafts because of the situation. Even though from an NFL perspective he was QB3, from fantasy he was QB1. Or as far as rookies went, his situation was much better than Drake Mays with the Patriots, and Michael Penix wasn't even starting. He had Kirk Cousins there, so I had Jane Daniels, I think 1. I had Caleb Williams 2 just because of ADV, artificial dynasty value. I mean, I knew people were going to stay high on him, just like you had MHJ number 1, although I hated him going to the Cardinals. I don't like Kyler Murray. He was probably not my wide receiver 1 in fantasy drafts. I guess he was, but it was close. 'Cause I wasn't sure about Neighbors with the Giants either. I'm gonna be honest, and I'm still not really sure. I mean, yeah, he got insane target or target volume or targets, but I don't know that he's going to get that again, especially if they draft a wide receiver. And they really don't even need to. They re-signed Darius Slayton. They got Wandale Robinson. They got Theo Johnson, who's going to come back from injury. You got Tyron Trace, who's an ex-wide receiver, who's a running back, and who looked decent. Like, I mean, they are probably going to draft weapons, but plus Russell Wilson, I think he's going to spread the ball around a little bit more. Jameis Winston, I mean, if he's the quarterback, man, he will throw that fucking ball, man. He'll throw fucking 35 touchdowns, 35 interceptions, 5,000 yards. So that's probably who you want to be the quarterback because it's going to be a lot of fucking volume to go around if he's the quarterback. If Russell Wilson's the quarterback, I don't really know if you want him throwing the ball 35 plus times or anything. Honestly, I don't know if you want James Winston throwing the ball 35 plus times because you're going to turn the ball over a lot probably. But yeah, as far as Jane Daniels goes, I mean, Lauren had a career year basically with them. You also had both Browns, Noah Brown and Dahami Brown. I don't know if they're both still there. I think you got Zacharias there too. Alamedius, Zachariah, whatever the hell his name is. You got Luke McCaffrey. You got Zach Ertz coming back. You still got Ben Sinnott there, though, who I think will be taking over that tight end role and should be really good. I'm excited about Ben Sinnott, honestly. They'll probably draft a running back because of Brian Robinson coming up in a contract year and just being probably replaceable. I mean, he's good. I'm probably higher than the most, but I don't know how much you re-sign him for. I don't know if you just don't re-roll it. Yeah, this is definitely the class to try to re-roll it and start over, and why not do it right before you have to pay him? You know, give yourself a year to see a guy to evaluate, and you still got Chris Rodriguez, who's not much. He's really not bad, not much different than Brian Robinson, anyways. I think they're bringing Eckler back, who's a great receiver. But Jay Daniels, just Konami code ability, his rushing ability, it's so smooth. I'm nervous because of his small frame. I don't think he's quite as fast or athletic as Lamar Jackson. That I don't know if he'll be capable of getting away with it as often and to the extent that Lamar Jackson has been able to get away with it. But we'll see. I mean, until he's injury prone, he's not injury prone, and it's not an issue. I mean, when he's healthy, he's a top fantasy quarterback, and as of now, he's healthy and he's in a great situation. So he's QB3. The top two pretty much explain themselves. Honestly, I don't have to go in depth on these two. I mean, Josh Allen has been like QB1 last 3 or 4 years. He gets like 400 points a year at QB, and Lamar Jackson, he's damn near won 3 MVPs. I think this past year Allen got his, so Lamar Jackson didn't win it. Shit, Burrow could have won it, but they didn't make the playoffs. But Lamar Jackson, I guess, has 2 MVPs. He could have got MVP number 3. He probably had his best year and didn't win MVP. That's kind of funny. He's still capable of rushing for close to 1,000 yards every year. He's capable of throwing for 3,500 yards. Now he's gotten a lot better in the pocket and as a passer. I think even if he gets injured, he still can be a great fantasy asset because he is developing as a passer nicely. Now, defenses still have to defend him as a runner as far as not getting overly aggressive in pass rushes or, blitzing him. You have to maybe keep a spy, which, takes someone out of coverage. So it makes it easier. He gets favorable coverages and defensive schemes that, make it easier for him to go through his reads and progressions and find people open. But he still has to make the throws. He still has to have the eyes and the vision and, the IQ to see it and read it. And then just the ability to, just complete the pass with, good accuracy, touch, hitting wide receivers in stride so they can get some yak, which he does very well with Zay Flowers and Bateman. Also, the emergence of Bateman also helps a little bit, and I do like Tez Walker personally. I think that Odell Beckham, I don't think he's still there, though. They still got Andrews. He had that awful drop, but he's still there. He's going to make amends, I think. And they got Likely, too. Actually, they might let Andrews go. I don't know. Is it likely he's shipped now? I don't know. Either way. Uh, and Josh Allen with Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman, Shakir, James Cook being a really good running back and being a decent receiver. It's all good things for both of them. Their situations are, I don't want to say improving, but I guess they are improving because they're not getting worse. And if they're staying the same, they're going to improve a little bit because you're going to have better chemistry, more experience, and you're going to be able to add some pieces without, without losing anything. So, yeah, both of them probably should just be in better situations and should just improve. And they both got pretty good defenses, which gives them a lot of favorable opportunities, full game scripts. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say about those two. I mean, those are pretty easily 1 and 2. You could argue Jay Daniels because of his youth, but I mean, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I mean, I don't care about that. In a 2-3 year window, I don't see Jay Daniels being better than Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen personally. I don't see those two falling off in a 2-3 year window. They've been fantasy producers every year. It's not like Mahomes. And they both can produce enough with their legs. Like, Allen lost Diggs, and he still was up there. So, yeah, I mean, Jackson's lost Andrews before and still been up there. He added Henry, and he was still up there. So, like, Henry didn't take away from his rushing or anything either. So, their situations just really don't seem to impact them whatsoever. Whereas Mahomes' situation has kind of shown to be a problem for him. He hasn't been producing at those levels. And then you look at Joe Burrow and his rise. I think Justin Herbert's going to improve. I think C.J. Stroud's going to improve. Jared Goff has been consistent. His situation, lost his offensive coordinator, but, the roster is the same. The roster is only going to be stronger probably. Bears, they got that offensive coordinator. And yeah, I feel like it's a decent top 10 list. I guess I am using age with Drake May, but I'm also expecting the Patriots to add significant pieces, and I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot. I think that's going to give him a lot of opportunity as well. Mike Vrabel being the head coach and possible defensive coordinator, I guess. We'll see if that's the case or not. The Patriots' way is kind of to keep scores close and competitive and, minimize mistakes, things like that. So it could be kind of ugly and just tempered. Maybe there is like not a lot of throwing a first down. Maybe he's not throwing the ball, more than 25 times, kind of like Brady early in his career and shit. But he's still mobile. He's still got that rushing upside, and I just feel like that team's just still so bad that division's pretty winnable though. I mean, other than the Bills, the Jets and Dolphins are not in great situations themselves. Although all three should be improving. Tua's going to be healthy, and Hill hopefully is healthy, and you're going to have an improved offensive line there. The Jets got Fields now. Of course, you had Aaron Rodgers, so I don't know if that's an upgrade or not, but either way, I think it adds another dimension. Aaron Glenn is a much better coach than what they had, I think. Although I did like their coach, truthfully, when they fired him, but perhaps he wasn't the right guy for the job. It is funny that they went defense twice. You would think they might go offense this time. Otherwise, why have we even fired the coach? Because he is one of the best defensive minds. He's had one of the best defenses. Honestly, when it came to his job, he was good. It was the offense that was the question mark with Brian Hackett or whatever. So, I don't know. It's about my pay grade, but this is my list. Feel free to leave comments and tell me where I'm fucking up, why I'm wrong, what you like. This is Flexible Fantasy Football, BTTN. As always, we got Statue David, my little friend here, with his big friend. Talk about Big Penix Energy. He brings it every single show, every single stream, every single video. Whenever I'm producing content, we got the Big Penix Energy from Statue of David right here. Double D. David's D squared. You know how we do. Anyways, that's the QB rankings. We got other ranking videos coming soon. running back, wide receiver, tight end, and then Devy. We're going to do a Devy rankings, top 50 Devy. So hopefully you check those out. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace out.